So they vary from 28 to 70 pounds. I would do small drops on Instagram. It was called a dead stock drop. It only lasted for one day, the drop.
Yeah.
One comment we had once was that it was like getting a Glastonbury ticket.
Joining me today on All About Business is Billie-Jo Cronin. She and her brother Phoenix bootstrapped the independent brand Good Squish, selling hand-stitched accessories made from dead stock fabrics. The siblings went from selling a few units to 1,900 globally in under a year.
Doing sort of endorsements, celebrity endorsements is so helpful. Maud Apatow is an amazing actress and she's come to our studio before. Belle Powley obviously is my friend and she wears them. Helena Bonham Carter. It's all been really organic. When we get asked whether we'll do like a paid one, I've always been like, no, never. A lot of people said that they made friends through seeing someone wear a squish on the street. Someone sitting on the bus taking a video of someone wearing one and then they would be like, I ran up to her and said that I knew about Good Squish and then they would talk.
You've created something that's, a real brand and experience. How did you do that? Welcome to All About Business with me, James Reed, the podcast that covers everything about business, management, and leadership. Every episode, I sit down with different guests who've bootstrapped companies, masterminded investment models, or built a business empire. They're leaders in their field, and they're here to give you top insights and actionable advice so that you can apply their ideas to your own career or business venture. Thank you for coming in to talk to me today, Billie-Jo. Now, Good Squish is an accessories, to explain to people who might not know your brand, I know many do, but it's an accessories business. And I think you began by doing sort of super special hair scrunchies.
I think when I started, there actually wasn't any of these. I couldn't find them anyway on the internet of this because this was the first one.
So for people listening, what is it you're holding?
A scrunchie, but we call them squish. You're actually not allowed to say scrunchie.
Okay, I won't use that word again. So that's a squish.
Yeah.
But we'll describe it to someone who's just listening. What is it?
So it's broderie anglaise and cotton, and it's double layered, and it's basically a hair tie, but a very elaborate one.
So you started making these yourself using what sounds like
broderie anglaise, like vintage dead stock broderie
vintage anglaise material, which has a rather unfortunate description of dead stock in some instances.
Yeah. Dead stock.
What is dead stock?
So dead stock is fabric that is the fabric that's not used in production, so that would otherwise go to waste. So it would otherwise go to landfills, and we use it to make product.
So this is a very sustainable business model, then. You're the opposite of fast fashion. You're using dead stock. You're slow fashion. Is that the right phrase? What do you call it?
Yeah, it is slow fashion. I don't want to say we're 100% sustainable. We're aiming towards that. But we're keeping everything handmade in here, handmade in London, and using dead stock fabrics wherever we can, and the hope to use much more of it. So in that way we are slow fashion. We definitely. Being fast fashion is something that we're not interested in.
So you're handmade in London using dead stock fabrics is your sort of strategy.
Yeah, which I think is completely possible.
Well, you've shown it to be.
To keep that with growth, you might not grow as quickly, but I think that's a good thing, if anything. I've grown it through Instagram, and the response from the first post that I did is sort of always
stratospheric.
Yeah.
So exactly. There's lots I want to ask you about in just that one sentence. So how long have you been making these?
Since 2021.
So you started the business in 2021, and you started on your own, I believe. Yeah. So it was just you, and you had some material, and you started making these squishes.
Making the squishes. I had some help from my friend's mum, who helped me do all the sampling during lockdown. So we did the sampling together because she's a really amazing seamstress. And the first one we ever made was this. So it was just this one that existed.
So that's your very first squish. You're holding onto it tightly.
This star is the very first one.
Right.
And then it sort of went from there. But when I first ever made one of these, I didn't do anything with it for a while. And then I started giving it to my friends, and they wore it on set because I worked in fashion at the time. And then so it was really organic because people would see them wearing it, and then I would get the odd message asking if they could order one.
Right.
And that's how it sort of started at the beginning.
So organic demand bubbled up and you realised people really quite like these.
Yeah, it was very, very organic and very slow, which was really nice. And it was all through my friends borrowing them and sharing them with their friends. And then...
So when people wanted to buy them, but you didn't pitch it low, did you? You said this is a premium product.
Yeah, because, it took time.
So how long did it take you to make one?
At the time, an hour or more than an hour.
Right, so it was at least an hour of your time, plus the materials,
yeah,
plus all the other added costs.
Yeah, I think I priced them. The price hasn't changed at all. It stayed exactly the same since the beginning.
How much is a Squish?
The Queen is £45.
That's the one you're holding?
This one,
That's the original.
So they vary from 28 to as high as like £70.
Right.
I think that's our highest priced one.
So these are premium accessories made sustainably out of dead stock. Yeah. I think it's important to stress that because it's a really strong message. You've built a brand around that, haven't you? People know that.
Yeah.
Your customers like that. They come back for that.
Yeah, I think it's part of our branding. Also, there's a lot of fabric that goes into this. I think people are surprised. We've done some workshops, and the first comment is always, "I can't believe how much fabric and time goes into one," because there's over 5 meters of fabric.
5 meters of fabric into one Squish?
There's like 1 meter, but then there's layers, so there's like a lot of fabric in one Queen, which it means they're quite heavy, but people are always really surprised because they're like, I didn't realize it was that much fabric.
So they're pleasantly surprised when they get it in a parcel.
Yeah, we've always had a really good response to the products. It's really different now from when we first started because there's so many other people making them. But you can...
People have copied you.
Yeah, but
well, that
I think
happens. That's a high form of flattery. Yeah. But you're the original, authentic Squish.
Yeah,
we want people to know that.
But people always say to me now is something that people say is that when they see one that's like a version of ours, they can tell immediately it's not a good Squish, which I think is really cool.
That's good too. Yeah. So people really spot yours over the others. So how much money do you have when you start this business? You didn't have family backing or some rich sort of entrepreneur saying, I'll invest in this. How much did you have? How did you start?
I started with £1,000.
You started with £1,000?
Yeah. So I bought all the fabric that I could with that money.
Right.
And then I would do small drops on Instagram every month or every 2 to 3 weeks, where I would make batches of loads of different variations. It was called a dead stock drop. We still do them now, and the dead stock drops are actually our best, the activations that do the best for us, even now. But that's how I started.
So when you get each batch of dead stock,
so I'd buy lots of different fabrics and then make one of ones from the fabrics. There would be one of each style. So, and then I would drop them on Instagram.
Oh, so it's almost like you're getting a unique.
Like an auction.
It's the only one. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So that's how it started.
So how many versions are there now then?
So now we have our core lines, which is the Queen, the Bloomberg, Baby Bloomberg. There's like 7 different...
7 different types of Squish.
Squish. One comment we had once was that it was like getting a Glastonbury ticket.
Oh.
Yeah. Because now we have thousands of people that come online at the same time to get them.
Right.
Which is cool.
So it's like getting a Glastonbury ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been growing this. So you mentioned Instagram several times. You obviously use social media to build your brand. Talk me through how you did that. What did you? The dead stock drops obviously a part of it, an important part of it.
Yeah.
But establishing your name,
through
your mates, or how did you get going?
First, I came up with the name, and then after I came up with the name, I started the Instagram, and then I just started posting, and I would just post whatever came into my mind. But I think because I was so excited about the product and I loved it so much, that came across a lot in my social media.
Your enthusiasm and passion for what you did.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it was quite unique at the time to see someone speak in all capitals as if they were screaming about a product. Oh,
is that what you did?
Yeah, that's still our tone.
So your tone is all capitals?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay,
yeah.
Well that's interesting. So you make these products now. You've grown a team. You were telling me earlier. How many people work for you now?
We have around 8 people, and then we work with freelancers as well that will help us.
So you have a team of 8. So this is over a 4-year period. You've built a team of 8.
Yeah.
So instead of outsourcing to China or something, you're literally doing it handmade in London.
Yeah, I think we will always be handmade in London, which does feels as it could limit growth, but I think it's more important for us to like oversee the quality. Our atelier is a 2-minute walk across a courtyard from us, and that's where all of our production is made. And that's been really important for us, just to keep it here. And also it means that she has a whole studio full of women that do all the sewing, so it's great for us to support her.
Yes.
And keep it here. I think that's definitely something we want to do.
I applaud you for that. It's good to have jobs in London. So how many go out a week now?
Well, our direct consumer we sell between like 1,000 and 2,000 units per month.
Per month. So you're looking at 100 a day on average, checking them for quality.
We do it on Thursdays.
Right. Yeah. And how many would you reject?
Now because we've been working with a loaner since the beginning, it's not many. I would say 10 or so, because
So a small percentage.
A very small percentage, but our tolerance for quality, we don't have any tolerance, so she has to be really
error free.
Yeah, because even if the label's slightly wonky, we wouldn't take them.
Right. So you're a real perfectionist, I'm hearing here.
I think you have to be with product. If you're going to sell product, you have to be. And also, if it's a new customer getting it, you want the retention to be good, so you want them to buy another one, which is, we have a good retention. So people tend to buy more. Yeah.
And that's a big part of your strategy, to make sure they're happy.
Yeah, we want them to
So what happens if they're unhappy? You send them a Squish and they give you a 1 star. What do you do?
Well, something that's really important to us. My brother and I will go through if there's any reviews that aren't good, and we'll send them a Squish, or Phoenix has like cycled over and hand delivered them himself before. So Phoenix, I should stress, is your brother who you work with,
yeah, and he's covering the fort today, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing
while you're here talking to me. so he will go in person to the customer, with another one, or
if it's been late, if the delivery is late, he's cycled over before to meet them and give it to them in person, or we pick up the phone. We'll always call the customer and ask them how because our community is the reason we are where we are, and their feedback's so important to us. So we just try and make sure that we communicate with them as much as possible.
So you're really close to you talking to customers a lot?
Yeah, I still talk to a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spend time.
I think that might be a big part of your success. You know what they like, you know what they want, what they get.
Yeah, I think that's also a reason we've done so well on Instagram, is that we've always asked for product feedback. And that's when we've had like a lot of engagement, because we'll say I always make products that I love, but then I want to know what our customer wants, because they're also...
So what sort of feedback have you had? How did it steer your business?
We'll have them involved in the naming process of them, or if they feel that we should change the fabric so that they're lighter in the hair. Also, because everyone has different hair types. I think we've been really lucky, because we've made these products so that really anyone can wear them, and that's taken a lot of time, except
people like me.
Really wanted to.
Well, I'd love to, but
we made Alice
in
bands
another
now.
life. Alice band. Maybe I'll need one of them. Yeah. We're delighted that you're watching this episode. Please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to receive more insights and actionable advice that will help your business and/or career. So, Billie-Jo, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, but you didn't go to university, you didn't go to business school, you're self-taught entrepreneur. I think you left school at 16, is that right?
Yeah, I left school at 16. So I think in a way, maybe from not going to university, I'm very curious and I want to learn, so I'll look for ways to learn often. I learn quite a lot from listening to podcasts or reading. I get really excited about things if I learn them. But yeah, I didn't go to university or anything. I think there's lots of other ways you can learn.
Which would you recommend?
I think reading, mentorship, working with people. We've had an incredible mentor for the last 3 years.
How does that work?
We speak. Well, it sort of started with me calling him when we were going through a bit of a hard period.
So this is someone you knew or knew of?
That I knew already, and I have a lot of respect for. And he actually got us out of a really bad position really quickly. He told us to go. He said, we called him and we said, look, we can't pay anyone. We don't know what to do.
That's a bad position.
Really bad position.
Yeah.
And he said, we ended up speaking for 3-4 hours, and he said, turn everything on pre-order. And I said, Phoenix and I said, people aren't going to wait 30 days for a scrunchie. That is ridiculous. And he said, just do it. Just try. You have nothing to lose, and you also can't do anything else, so you're going to have to try it. Yeah. And we did it, and it built our business back up within like 6 months. And everyone waited 30 days for a scrunchie. So he literally we never would have thought that. And just from one suggestion, we stayed alive. I don't think we would have made it through. So it was like having that mentor that we could ring that didn't help with anything financially. But
this mentor was a person with business experience.
Yeah, had built an incredible business. And we still speak every month.
So for entrepreneurs listening, looking out for mentors is a good thing to do, you're saying.
And don't be scared to ask. People always say yes. I think they want to pass on.
Yeah, I think I think from my experience of mentoring it's a two-way street.
Exactly.
Learn from each other.
Yeah.
So I'm sure your mentors learn from you too.
Yeah.
I would say they have.
Yeah. I think that's been that would be advice, is look for someone that you admire and trust. And
now I'm interested because I believe you're selling quite successfully in places like Japan and Korea now. Is that right?
Yeah. So we sell in Korea and Japan and America now. But Korea's been really great for us. We've had a lot of sales.
Talk me through that. How did that come about?
That happened really organically too, I think.
So someone in Korea saw you on Instagram, or?
Yeah. And now we work with a really nice distributor who is in Seoul, called Mirabelle, and she does these pop-ups.
Right.
Good Squish pop-ups, which we haven't gone over there to be at one yet, but the way that the customer in Seoul react to the product is so amazing.
How do they react?
They do like tea parties with them. They send us hundreds of photographs of how they've styled them.
Really?
It's just like it's like as if I was there at the pop-ups that she puts on. So then we've had, I think from that happening, we've had quite high engagement there.
Okay, so let's talk about the brand. Good Squish. I mean, it's an interesting choice of words. Yeah. And you said you did that right at the beginning.
Yeah.
You gave it a lot of thought. Why Good Squish?
I did give it a lot of thought before, but then when the name came into my head,
it just came to you?
I was just writing loads of names down. I think I wrote Good and then Squish, and then that was it. So
you were thinking what you were sort of describing it, it's good, and it feels squishy, and then why not call it? So that literally was a eureka type moment. You think, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And it sort of felt right, did it?
I immediately knew it was the name, and I messaged a friend of mine called Royden who did the logo, and it looked perfect, so I kept it.
How do you hope to take the brand forward in terms of are you looking to sort of widen your range, or simply sell what you have in more markets? What's your sort of thinking around that?
I think we're definitely we're going to stay with doing the Squish and keep evolving and tweaking them to the trends. I always get asked if I'm worried that they won't be popular anymore, and I don't feel like that. I think because they're a functional product, you'll always need a hair tie, so we can just tweak and change it.
Yeah, women have been wearing things in their hair for thousands of years.
Exactly.
Whether it's hats or accessories.
Exactly.
That's not going to change, is it?
No. So I think I would love to do these for 20, 30 more years, but just keep tweaking them to maybe the trends, and making them better and better. And then broadening into other accessories, and then hopefully ready to wear.
So what do you have in terms of other accessories at the moment?
We have Alice bands.
You're wearing one now.
Which I'm wearing.
Yeah.
And then
is that made in the same sort of approach, style?
It's made.
Using the same type of dead stock.
So it's a sort of splits between dead stock and fabrics that aren't dead stock. But I think this year and beyond, we'd want to be focusing more on sourcing dead stock.
Yeah. So you've got Alice bands. What else?
Bands, bag straps, shoe straps, hair clips. We have pins, and then we have keychains and stuff like that. Right. So it's all accessories at the moment.
And is there an online store that someone can visit?
Yeah,
to buy these things. Tell us what the address is.
It's www.goodsquish.com.
Goodsquish.com, and you can buy all of these things there, everyone.
Yeah.
Wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, we just launched so that we can send everything globally.
Fantastic.
Which is really exciting just at Christmas. So that's going really well.
So how many countries have you got customers in now? Do you know?
We have over 20 probably.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll get the odd order from somewhere completely new, and it's so exciting. I still go through the orders every day to see where.
It's amazing that how you can now export all over the world
It
through
is
a
amazing.
website fulfillment.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And you do that from your headquarters, eh?
We do all of our fulfillment in-house, which is a big challenge.
Right.
Has been one of the challenges.
So you've got to think about that for the future.
Yeah, we have to think about that for the future, but it's nice to keep it. I've always wanted to keep it in a house, and so has Phoenix, just to have a close eye on it. The way everything's packaged and making sure that it goes out. And we because we do pre-order and in stock. That's quite a tricky thing to manage. It's a very full-time position, managing the split between that. So we've had to keep it in-house. So it does mean that people are posted, like, often sitting in piles of packages at the studio.
Well, this is real life, isn't it? You've got real business growing and developing around you, which is so exciting. You mentioned Phoenix several times. You work with your brother.
My brother.
How did that come about?
He was in South Africa when Good Squish started growing quite quickly. And I'd been approached by a few people actually for them to work as my partner. And I hadn't really, I did really want help because it was growing really quickly and it was really difficult to manage. But I just wasn't really sure. And then my brother called me and he'd been working on another project and then said, look, I'm thinking of coming back to London. Do you want me to help you for a little bit? And I was like, yes, please do that, because he's really bright. And I just.
So is he older or younger than you?
He's younger. He's 27.
So he can take instructions.
Yeah, well, it's very balanced. Right. He sometimes feels like my older brother, and then sometimes my younger brother, and I think vice versa. But
but you feel you work well together?
I think it's one of the coolest things ever to work with a sibling. It's hard.
That's so nice to hear. So tell me about why. Why do you feel that?
I think because we trust each other, it means we can act very quickly and make decisions and sort of go, there's not that problem. So the trust is really important. He's always going to have my back. So that sort of.
Well, we had two brothers in the studio recently, so they were talking about that.
I think
they said the same thing.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna. There's nothing. I wouldn't worry about anything. So you can just go at everything. When like opportunities.
So you'd say to a young entrepreneur listening, if you're finding you're getting too much work, think about involving a sibling, would you?
Yeah, I think so.
If you have the right, but do you have complementary skills, or do you have? You obviously have temperaments that don't clash.
We're complete opposites.
So do you think that's important?
I think it's the perfect recipe for business because he does operations and he's very logical and I'm very creative and sort of free thinking. And I think it's exactly what we each need. But I think it does take work because we're siblings. It also means if we're having a meeting, we can say whatever we want and get through it really quickly. We can make decisions really fast that way, and because we're completely honest. But that does mean that you have to work on that in a business environment too.
Yeah, what happens outside of the business environment? I mean, I work in a family business too.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see where one ends and one begins in family and business. Isn't
it is difficult.
I find that.
We often, when we hang out outside of work now, we end up speaking about Squish, and we have to stop ourselves and say.
Well, why would you want to stop? I mean, it's something you both enjoy.
Because we'll talk about it forever and ever and ever.
Yeah, no, that's what I find. I mean, that's the trouble with a passion. You just keep going.
It sort of gets into everything.
But the other way of looking at that is what an amazing way to be sort of creative and energizing around a business idea. Because if you are talking about it, that's a stimulation. New ideas and new thoughts that will help you carry it forward.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go home and watch TV. Don't talk about it, you're not going to be doing that, are you?
No.
So that's probably another advantage of, I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
But you might not agree with working with a sibling.
It is funny because I often wake up and it's like 2 a.m. and Phoenix is like, we should do this and this and this. And I'm like, Phoenix, it's 2 a.m.
You text me. Well, he texts you.
He'll text me like millions of ideas.
Yeah,
just before I go to sleep, and I'm like, now I can't sleep because I'm just thinking of what we should do.
I have this problem, but I don't have a brother to text.
Yeah.
I'm always awake at 2 or 3 in the morning for some reason. But you start thinking about stuff, don't you? And
Yeah. But
you communicate with each other, do you?
Yeah. And then we have a lot of ideas. Sometimes too many ideas.
So how do you decide? Yeah, how do you decide which ideas to run with, and how, between you, how do you sort of curate? Because I think that's a challenge for lots of entrepreneurs, having lots of ideas, but which ones should we really put our energy into? How do you grapple with that?
I'm really impulsive, and if I have an idea, I'll try and do it. I want to do it straight away, and it's been really good for Squish because I'm really reactive. If I have an idea, I'm going to do it.
So you try everything, sort of thing. Is that what you're saying? As
we were growing, yeah. Especially, I would try everything. I think now because it's a different stage of the business, and
that's hard work.
Yeah. But because now there's a lot of other things. Like we have a team. We're much bigger than we were. Phoenix will sort of be like, Billy, no, let's think about that idea. Is it possible? Will it benefit us? Which is great, because otherwise I'd probably be doing far too many things at once. We also get a lot of opportunities, we find deciding on whether we should do something that's been like an opportunity that's come to us, or another brand that wants to collaborate. We find that more difficult because it's hard to know what's the right thing often, because we're just deciding together. And we've done a lot of collaborations which have been incredible, but you learn so much that our thoughts now are that always just do things, really think about whether they're going to be good or not, because it's your time and energy.
Yeah, but I suppose we don't know, do we? Or you don't know when you start on something whether it's going to work. You never know. Yeah, it's only afterwards.
You just learn, I guess. And then we learned a lot last year. So now we're going to go into this year having a much clearer idea of what we want.
But you're keeping an open mind, though, aren't you? Still trying things.
Yeah.
Weighing up whether it's worth a go or not.
Yeah.
And you feel the relationship with your brother is a good way of doing that. We work really well together, which is really nice. We do a lot. We actually also, he does all the photography when we do the shoots for our website and stuff. So that's really nice when we get to work in that way, because that's a different way of working. That's quite a creative way of working together. Yeah. So there's so many. So this is a great collaboration.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to me. There are all sorts of sibling businesses that do really well, and I think for the reasons you've described, you've got different skills.
Yeah.
And different preferences, but you can build it on trust.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm interested in you just trying ideas all the time, because I think that's so important. And we talked to a CXO, Chief Experience Officer, in one of the earlier podcasts, who that was literally their strategy online. They'd use A/B testing on their website all the time to see which one worked over the other. And I mean, that's in some ways easier to do in a digital space than it is when you're actually fabricating things. I mean, it's much more difficult for you.
Yeah.
And the amount of work involved is probably much more, but it's interesting that that's still, to me, the philosophy. Try it, see.
Try and see.
Try it, see.
Yeah, exactly. It's really important.
But making decisions is also interesting to me. You were talking about that, and you do that together. There are two of you. What happens if you don't agree?
We have to talk it out for a while and work out. We have to try and see both sides. So we'll spend a lot of time. I think if that's something Phoenix and I struggle, is it takes us a lot of time to make the decision sometimes. Because Phoenix will often, we will get spreadsheets up and we'll do like the pros and cons, and then we'll narrow it down, and then the next day we'll look at it again and narrow it down. So that can be tricky.
So he's a spreadsheet person.
He is very much a spreadsheet person. If Phoenix can see something that I can't see, because I'm very much in it, he'll flag it to me and say, look, I think this isn't working. I think we should try something else.
Yes. And you'd sleep on it and wake up at 2 a.m. and message him.
Yeah.
And all that. So but how long would that process take? Is it usually?
It depends on what it is. It depends on what the project is, or projects that have been sort of extra, I guess, like other brands or companies wanting to work with us. That's where that's been most of the,
So you've done quite a lot of these collaborations.
We've done quite a lot of collaborations.
So how do they work? What has that been a big part of your growth? You seem like you're a bit ambivalent about them now.
I think because we did a lot last year.
So are you happy to talk about one, or as an example?
Yeah, we did one with a brand called Marge Sherwood, but that was a very big collaboration. And it was great. It was a huge learning curve. But
so what do they do? What's their thing?
They do clothing and bags.
Yeah.
I think they started doing bags, actually. But we did 12 products, collaborative products with them. Or more, actually. I think I was actually like close to 8.
So when you say collaborative products, are you working together on the design of them? Or?
You design them together.
Right.
And then launch them on both platforms.
Okay. And so how was that process? So
Well,
you're designing something jointly with someone in Korea now?
Yes, it was communicating with them.
Yeah, well, different time zones, different language
zones.
and everything. Yeah.
And then also they were producing some in Seoul and we were producing some in London. We did a campaign together and then we did 2 pop-ups, one in Seoul and one in London.
Right.
So it was enormous. But I think when we
How did it work out? Did London do better than Seoul or Seoul better than London? Or?
London did really well. The whole the collaboration itself did really well, but I think we just didn't, when we got the email, that I was just like, yes, we've got to do this. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, but it took up all our time. And we're a tiny team. So as soon as you say yes to something like that, you have to remember that you're going to be working double the hours.
Yes.
Because you still have to run your business.
So this is about opportunity costs. You know, could your time have been better spent doing something else over the collaboration?
Yeah, I think when
collaboration was good, but you might have gone.
When you're young, you have to remember that your brand is your community, your business, your brand, your product has to be the most important thing. Because as soon as you take your eye off it,
that might be true when you're old as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking that. As soon as you take your eye off anything, you end up in the ditch, don't you?
I mean young, like business.
Yeah, that's what I took you to
when
mean.
You're old.
I'm thinking as an older business, that's absolutely, our business is going to be 65 years old this year. And I'm thinking, you're right. This is exactly right. And we should be exactly focusing.
But when you've got
way.
a bigger team, then you can potentially take on those sort of things because they might not touch.
Yeah, you can try. Perhaps you can try more.
Yeah,
and you can have more pilots running.
Exactly.
As your business grows, but still on the understanding that some will be successful and some won't, and you've got to scratch things that aren't quickly and efficiently and move the resource on.
Yeah.
I mean, in sort of business school, they call it capital allocation. That's the posh.
Capital.
So where you're going to spend your money, but it's also your time and energy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it's a finite amount.
Yeah.
And, capital allocation is so important to all businesses, whatever their stage, I think.
Yeah.
Because it defines whether we're putting our money into areas where you get a good return or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's something we've learned a lot from last year. That also our time. I think I just forget about my time.
So I suppose with a collaboration, by making a commitment to collaborate with someone else or another party, our time is not our own so much. Is that something... because you said, well, I'm going to spend time with you on this.
Well, yeah.
You don't have the control over your time. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm hearing to an extent.
Yeah. It's more that it was also some of it can feel a bit like a risk because you haven't seen if this works. It's not something that's guaranteed to work. It can be. I think just weighing it up in that way because we had no idea if it was going to be good for the business or bad for the business, but we were spending, I was doing drawings and you end up spending time designing the product. I also take a very long time because I want to get it right and I'm a perfectionist, so I was just spending a lot of time on a collaboration and not as much time on
So your philosophy this year is to spend more on the sort of home product range.
Exactly. I think we're going to be, if we do get asked to do any collaborations, we're really going to spend our time thinking about it. Unless they're small, which the one we did with Bao, they're smaller.
So talk me through, who's Bao and what was that?
Bao is a restaurant called Bao. And they do these Bao buns. And we did a squish that was looked like a Bao bun.
What, a squish that goes over a bun?
No, it just has wadding in it, so it kind of looks like a Bao bun.
Oh, I see.
And then it released it over street market.
And that went well, did it?
Yeah, it went really well.
So those collaborations are good when they work. Yeah. You've also had, I believe, sort of celebrity endorsements. That's another part of the sort of marketing landscape, isn't it? So who did you find to endorse you and how did that come about? Or was it by accident? Talk me through celebrity endorsements and how it works.
Yeah. They've all been organic. We haven't ever looked at...
so these are people who have bought your products, are they?
Yeah.
Have been given them?
Yeah. Since the beginning, we've been really lucky with the people that have bought them and worn them. there was actually one particular person who I really am a fan of.
Who's that?
Called Chloe Sevigny, who's an actress. I've watched all her films, like
Right.
every single one. And
So that's good. She likes your product.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually when we grew quite quickly, because it was really weird, because I wrote a list of people that I want to wear Squish, and she
Right.
was like number 2 or something. And then a few months later, I was on holiday and I woke up to a message from her on Instagram, which is completely mental,
Right.
saying, "Can I buy a good Squish?" I remember looking at it and being like, "That's not a real message. That can't be real."
Yes.
And then she ended up buying them, and I sent her a few extra ones and
Yeah.
wrote that I'd written it in my diary on a card to her, and then she did a post saying, "Oh hell yeah, good Squish," wearing them.
Very
And I
good.
remember when that happened, there were so many sales after that.
So it really made a difference commercially.
Yeah. And then since then,
So you should keep writing lists, shouldn't you? I mean, obviously, somehow it
Manifestation.
transmits. You
Maybe.
get more emails, maybe.
yeah, maybe I should.
How many others have come through on the list?
No one else.
No
on
one
the
else?
list. No, actually, one more person,
Oh.
but I never saw a photo of her. Was Helena Bonham Carter,
Right.
and I never saw a picture of her wearing one. But she did order one because I saw her name, and I asked her to be in a film, and she said no, but it's fine.
Well, you've got to try, haven't you? So Helena
Yeah.
Bonham Carter, if you're listening,
Yeah,
I hope you like your Squish.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we haven't. Yeah, so it's all been organic, and now we have a lot of great. We've worked with Olivia Dean, who's an amazing singer, an artist. Maud Apatow is an amazing actress, and she's come to our studio before. Belle Powley obviously is my friend, and she wears them. So I think it's all been really organic in that way.
Yeah.
I think now we're sort of looking at. I think doing sort of endorsements, celebrity endorsements, is so helpful. So we have been looking at that, but I think when we get asked whether we'll do like a paid one, I've always been like,
No, I think it's good that it's got integrity the way you do. I just hope anyone listening, who knows celebrities, say this is an incredible way to support young entrepreneurs.
yeah.
It doesn't take much, does it, to put a Squish on and say, I love this, if you like it.
Well, I think they actually love them because they order loads.
Yeah, so that if you love them, put a picture up and say I love them, because why not? I mean, it helps people get business going, it creates jobs, it's good for
Exactly, that's so
opportunities in London.
Yeah.
And I think that's a power that people sometimes have that they maybe don't realise they have.
Yeah, it's very true.
I mean,
yeah,
when you say the orders went through the roof, that shows
yeah,
how
it's
powerful it is.
Yeah, it's sometimes we haven't been. A girl called Amber worked with us on press for a while, and she was amazing because I'm not very good at knowing who's cool, but she would go through our orders and she'd see a name of someone that is like a
You'd
TikTok.
be a lot better than me, I tell you.
Yeah.
So people on TikTok.
But she was the best.
She'd
So
know.
she'd find like a TikTok person on TikTok, and she'd be like, "This person's just ordered a Super Baby in White," and then we would just get loads of orders of a Super Baby in White from her, just checking through, because we'd always send a few extras.
Right.
But yeah, so that it does really work.
So you need to be really tuned into that, though, you're saying.
Yeah.
For people listening who are potentially going to be marketing things, that's an area to really keep a beady eye on.
Yeah, and if you can't, because I can't do that, because I don't know who.
And you're
is.
doing the product, but find people who are really
Find someone
connected.
that's really good at knowing who's in at the moment.
Yeah, no, but that's a really important part of marketing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're growing your business. You mentioned earlier that you were thinking of going into. I didn't.
Ready to wear.
Ready to wear.
Yeah.
I was going to say clothing, but that doesn't sound as good, does it? So that's your next. That's a big step, isn't it?
Yes.
From accessories to ready to.
I think it will be really slow if I do go into that. It's going to.
Will you keep the same brand?
Yeah, someone asked me this the other day. Yeah, definitely. No, Harry asked me actually, but yeah, I would definitely want to keep the same brand.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to change. I think Good Squish could be clothes.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, I see that. As a brand growth. But would it be a certain type of clothes? Squishy.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, I mean, I suppose I imagine they'd be super comfortable.
Yeah, I actually want to go.
Sort of very buttoned up.
I want to go into homeware also.
Right.
So I think it will be slow. It will be some things.
Homeware.
I'm definitely going to go into homeware, but very slowly. And ready to wear, I'm going to do over the next 5 years, but just really small batches, so maybe 30, 40 units of a skirt. Or I just want to keep it all really small and with a focus on dead stock, so that once.
Oh, so you can still get dead stock in sufficient quantities to do that.
Yeah, there's so much dead stock. You just have to look for it. So you need someone to look for it constantly. But I think something that is really nice about Deadstock is when we do use it for capsules, once a product's sold out, you can't get it again. So some people have
They're
one
very
of 50,
unique.
which is such a nice thing to know that.
It's like buying a print from an artist.
Exactly. Yeah.
You've got one of a number.
Yeah.
So they're very unique.
I think that's so nice when there's not, you don't want to see
agree.
the same person wearing the same product, like loads of.
Or you go to a party and there are 3 people in the same outfit.
Yeah, that's happened to me once, and I think that made me never want that to happen to me.
Well, not with a Squish product.
I mean, now I see a lot of people wearing them. But that's amazing.
Yeah, but they'll all be different from different batches of Deadstock.
Yeah, except for our cool ones, which obviously we make the Bloombergs, the Queens, and we have to make a lot of those. And then we have wholesale, so we stock in a lot of different shops.
So when you see someone wearing them, do you say hello to them? Do you ask them how you're getting on with that, or do you just give them the...
That's actually a good point, because that's, I think, one of the reasons we grew is that just after lockdown, a lot of people said that they made friends through seeing someone wear a Squish on the street.
So they say hello to each other?
People have made actual friends that hang out through seeing someone else.
So this is a community you're creating as well. That's fantastic.
And I get videos of someone sitting on the bus, like taking a video of someone wearing one, and then they would be like, I ran up to her and said that I knew about Good Squish, and then they would talk, and that's how we've grown. It's all been through people talking to each other, because you can see them, they're on ahead.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you didn't like the word, you banned it. But we could have said this is about scrunchies, but you've gone way beyond that in terms of creating this Squish, which is now a community. You're selling in Korea, you're selling in Japan, you're selling in America.
Yeah.
You've got celebrities endorsing it.
Yeah.
You've created something that's, a real brand and experience.
Thank you.
So, Billie-Jo, my first question to you is a question I ask everyone who comes onto this podcast, which is, what gets you up on a Monday morning?
A good Squish.
Good Squish.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all you need to say.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no. If it's 2 words, good Squish. And let's keep that. If you want to say more, do. But that's your answer.
That's it. That's probably what gets me up on a Monday.
Good Squish. Good. And my other question, which is a question from my interview book, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I have a lot of ideas for 5 years' time, but I think just still doing what we're doing, but having moved into more accessories, having a really strong, amazing team, and hopefully open a store in New York and Japan.
Fantastic. Store in New York and Japan.
And Japan. Yeah. Maybe one in 5 years.
What about London? Will you have a store in London?
I'd like to do pop-ups in London and maybe have a store in London. But I think New York and Japan are 2 places that I haven't been yet, and I really want to go to. So I'd love to have stores there, and then continue in London doing pop-ups around.
Yeah, that's a long way from where you are at the moment, where you can quality control everything yourself. You're obviously going to have to build a team of people you trust. How are you going to do that? Where are you at in that process now?
We're very much feels like we're a long way from. We're still building on that, and we're young. Phoenix and I are really young, so we're learning how to be, team managers and boss, and all those things. So I think that's one of our really important and main goals at the moment, is building a really strong team that we trust and that are enthusiastic and excited, and making sure that they can progress through Good Squish and. Something important to me is I think I'm quite good at it, is noticing what people are good at, and I want everyone on my team to feel like they're sort of able to utilize what they're great at at Good Squish. So just having a really strong team is something we want.
Well, I look forward to inviting you back in 5 years' time and seeing how that's progressing. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.